Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date, Thursday, December 24th, 2015. Yes, Christmas Eve. Pretty quiet out here along the new rivers of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And just hopefully everyone did their shopping. People are doing little festivities, which is all well and good. And it's always good. It's always nice people attend their families, their friends, loved ones. But I always tell people this: you should do this every day as much as possible. Attend people you love and dear and hold, because one day they may not be around, including yourselves. We're never promised tomorrow. You should always live life honorably with homage. And of course, being vigilant as well. And also, a couple folks just taking a little stroll along the river. So, it's, like I said, it's pretty quiet out here, which is nice. And probably many people are hitting the churches, whatever what your belief system is. That's all well and good. Well, I was going to make this pretty short. It'll be like a few topics. Just went online and checked what was happening. And the first thing I'm going to be hitting off came from the USA Today. Came out 5:14 p.m. to be exact. And it's entitled, McAfee will run as a Libertarian Party candidate for president, by John Swartz. It says here, John McAfee, Libertarian Party candidate for the President of the United States. The Mercurial McAfee, who is this year announced his run for the presidency under the Cyber Party to disrupt the political status quo and warn of the dangerously ignored issues of cybersecurity, said in the phone interview today he will join the Libertarian Party, who he's likely to land the nomination. They have 10 candidates for president, none of them who have personality, said a laughing McAfee, who is running on a platform to pardon all marijuana users in prison and stop the U.S. from being the world's policeman. The unconventional presidential run is McAfee's latest headline-grabbing adventure. The 70-year-old cybersecurity pioneer, who named was as a person of interest. It was unsolved 2012 murder case in Belize, and later claimed he is a target of a Central American hit squad for his criticisms of the Belize government. Has been subject to profiles in USA Today Network News, Wired Magazine, and the international press. His fame has also landed him in the role as subject of a forthcoming miniseries of a cable network, Spike. McAfee said a representative from the Libertarian Party contacted him Tuesday about representing the party. The party's convention is in late May in Orlando, Florida. The Lexington, Tennessee resident, whose campaign headquarters is in Opelika, Alabama, said he is confident he'll get the nomination and have his name on ballots in 50 states. For me, it is important to get boots on the ground, he said. A little bit of irony there, my friends. I like that. Doug Craig, a national board member of the Libertarian Party, said he recently discussed ballot access with McAfee and the challenges an independent candidate faces. He fits right in with our political philosophy, Craig says. Former New York Governor Gary Johnson, who was Libertarian Party's presidential nominee in 2012, has repeatedly said he's likely to run, but he has not yet declared. Expect to see plenty of McAfee in the coming months, not just on the campaign trail. He is the subject of a TV miniseries from Billy Corben, who directed Cocaine Cowboys and ESPN's 30 for 30 documentary on the University of Miami football program that is scheduled to premiere in May 2016. McAfee has also been penning columns in the past several months for the International Business Times. One recent piece was a rage of psychedelic drugs in the workplace. In his spare time, McAfee has developed a computer program to predict world events. Among them, on December 26, India's chief mobster will retire and name a successor. The most high-profile project, however, is expected to be the Spike series. I spent entirely too much time with Billy, McAfee said. He either thinks I'm a very complex individual or just simple. Corbin, who crisscrossed the country documenting McAfee, said he found McAfee to be one of the most intriguing and challenging people to film. There are so many layers there, Corbin said. It's hard to say where the series will lead to. And just they have taken the initiative on check out his interview he did with the folks from Lines of Liberty. Real good podcast, and believe it or not, they actually followed me on Twitter. That's how I first known about them. And now I listen to the shows frequently, and it's really cool. It was like the 154 podcast, episode 154, McAfee on why he should be president. So that came out November 2nd. This is by Mark Clare. Good guy, by the way. And he had the interview, has the audio version, the video YouTube version, and has all the websites. So definitely check it out. This is really good stuff. And his announcement as well. Has his campaign sites. And based on what I heard on his interview, which it has vulgarity and maybe some language, inappropriate language to those folks. So just be ready for that. And he is one interesting man. Lots of rough edges. He does make that confession. All thing I gotta say, listen to the podcast, and you make your own judgment. And he has some great attributes, including cybersecurity, because a lot of folks aren't really talking about that. So, and that's why it's really interesting to know about these individuals. And we don't get me wrong, we understand that McAfee, the Libertarian Party, and so forth, like the votes actually go to Electoral College. However, you can still send a great message. So this is why I tell everybody, examine this man, learn about him, even with this podcast. I learned a lot from this guy, and he is one of a kind. I'll definitely will say that. And you know what? He can maybe make an impact in the Libertarian Party, which I'm not a big fan of political parties in general. However, when it comes to common interest, yes, I will network with them. I won't be in their organization, but I will, in other words, network with them. Nothing wrong with that at all. But definitely check his guy out. You won't be disappointed when you listen to this podcast. And if you do listen and send your comments, you can let him know that Look the Third endorse it. So it'll be a nice little shout out. You know what I'm saying? But absolutely examine it, make your own judgment, and you won't regret it. All right. Well, next one here came from shtfplan.com, HTF. So you can figure it out. It was by Mark Slavo, I think it is. Came out yesterday. Ooh, I almost yawned there. Good grief. Ouch. Yeah, Max Slavo came out today to be exact. And this one's entitled, Is America on the Brink of Civil War? If we defend it together, we can avoid bloodshed. And as it reads here, it could happen anytime, at least what many experts think. There are gross violations of the Constitution and the rights of the people at every turn. It is a daily staple of the news cycle. There have been potential flashpoints on the scale of Lexington Green, which started the American Revolution in 1775, over and over again. And people have never been so divided at any time in the collective memory, because threats of gun confiscation at the federal level and repeated incidences of SWAT teams and military-like police forces abusing their power against people in their homes and at protests. There are many reasons to think things have gone too far. The Patriot Act, the NDAA, the TSA, and Homeland Security all represent the occupation of the American people and the complete destruction of civil liberties. Will something spark a revolution or a civil war, or will the powers that be lose the ability to pit people against each other? Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rose said in an interview above, if we defend it together, we can avoid bloodshed here at home. But if we allow our police to militarize and turn into an occupying army, we we allow our military to be used here at home domestically against the people, there will be another fight, and there should be. As Rhodes note, many local law enforcement officials have spoken out about the unconstitutional acts of this government and have indicated that they will stand with the people. This is the best outcome, but not the only one that may happen. Even at the top of the system, there are many who have rebelled, and dissident against the unconstitutional and delusional acts of the sitting president. How much more can the system bear before it cracks at the foundation? And they have a YouTube channel, Verify Events Research Rights. Award-winning Democrat Seymour Hersh revealed the U.S. military was defying the White House and the CIA by providing intelligence to Syria against ISIS. While Obama is expected to move against guns in the next few days, another conspiracy theory coming true. It is good to put this issue into perspective and to point out the obvious red line of the U.S. public on this issue. The system is degenerating at the seams, and with the U.S. military revolting against the executive branch, a civil war can start at any moment. When the founders finally declared independence, it came with a well thought out list of the many items when the British occupiers went too far in abusing the rights of the colonists, and it formed the basis of the fight for freedom. While not all abuses listed in the Declaration of Independence still apply today, many do. Read them for yourself and see if it applies to the corruption in Washington today. He has refused to assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till its assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of the representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them, as and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with this measure. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with many firmness invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such disillusions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriation of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges depend on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without consent of our legislators. He has effected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and acknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretend legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried or pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws and in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the form of our U.S. governments, for suspending our own legislators and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. Will America still defend their rights today? How many more abuses will the people take before they fight back? Will those in power back off if people refuse to cooperate any longer? Or will the country roll over and descend into a full-blown tyranny like so many others before us? Yeah, well, someone asked me a question, so sorry about that. This is very interesting because how far can they gonna push the American people? That is the question, and we all know too, as part of the a lot of my fellow freedom loving sovereign thinkers out there that listen to the show, is known as part of the One World Order platform as well. We can't let people walk all over us, not just the United States, but the world. But as the United States, as an example, we're like cowboys, mavericks, ragtags, pirates to an extent, to an extent, free-spirited individuals. Of course, they try to conform us with their 1984 platform, which many of them have got caught in that web, but there's others are waking up to it, challenging it, descending, questioning. I noticed that myself. The big spiritual awakening is still in progress on a day-to-day basis, not happening overnight. But how far can this go on? I could tell you this, my friends, about this whole thing. If we defend it together, we can avoid bloodshed. It can be done. Absolutely. It doesn't matter what party you're in anyway, either. It doesn't matter at all. But honoring our Bill of Rights culture, which means government keep out. I know I harp on this at times, but the folks maybe hear the show the first time will understand. Will have to learn to understand this. You can make all these stupid laws you want, or support it, or bend over for the state. Our natural born rights are inalienable. We can stand together. We can say no to centralization, military or police, telling the feds, tell the states unconstitutional practices what we can or cannot do, or make these little pathetic threats of doing blockades on cities, which they did in Texas a while back for the whole groping bill on TSA that was arresting them. That's just an example. It happened a few years ago, but things are happening in a more I would say and activism, whether if you're on the streets, podcasting, handling information, things are happening. Just got to keep exercising it thoroughly instead of being a bunch of little numbers with the via social security number and bow down to the corporation. It can happen. People had these doubts. Oh, we're all gonna just bow down and it's gonna be done. It's a lot more. A lot more said, easier said than done. I always like thinking too many words at one time. And of course, stick with your families because they all want to have our families divided on this as well. This is why I remember the late Clayton Douglas, or not late Clayton Douglas, Clayton Douglas from Free America, Free American. It's a good show, by the way. I remember hearing this show a while back, a few years ago, talking about the television set. He goes, "You know how you solve that? Have your load up your shotgun, sit in front of the TV, shoot at it, then you'll feel better." That's one thing. It can be done. Break the matrix. Plant those seeds. If we can do that, it won't be any bloodshed. When people learn that they need us more we need them, it can be effective to better ourselves, our communities, etc. So, fight for what's right, my friends. Never surrender. Yeah, finally, it's by Newsmax. Little pros and cons. But, it says here, one of my favorite ginos, Michael Bloomberg, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, which we could say that the Joseph Lozito case was on his watch. Oh, yeah. Police protection myth. As mayor, I can dream about it. The government will make me feel safe. He joins with the National Basketball Association group. It says NBA joins with Michael Bloomberg group to oppose gun violence. How about violent crime, dummies? This is by Tom Beaton. Came out yesterday, and it says here, National Basketball Association has joined with former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg anti-gun group in a partnership negotiated by filmmaker Spike Lee to push for end to gun violence. Spike, spike, spike. Go figure. We know far too many people have been caught up in gun violence in this country. Kathleen Burns, the NBA's president of social responsibility and players program, told the New York Times, and we can do something about it. Yeah, stop hating each other. Stop the drug war. Have parents learn to respect each other. Love your neighbors and love yourself. Not ending gun violence because violent crime. Guns can't think for themselves. It's the individual that controls it. Now we'll proceed here. The 32nd spot to run during the high-profile NBA games on Christmas Day are being paid for by the Bloomberg's group. Every town for gun safety that they will feature league players focusing on shooting victims while containing no policy recommendations. Yes, they are going to use the Ebenezer's playbook propaganda, brainwashing. Brainwashing. The words gun control are never mentioned in the ads, the Times report. For instance, Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors described hearing of a 3-year-old shooting. My daughter's Riley's that age, he said in one of the ads. Another spot, Chris Paul of Los Angeles Clippers recalls the advice he learned as a child. My parents used to say, a bullet doesn't have a name on it. Bloomberg established his group last year to counter the National Rifle Association and to push for expanded gun background checks as well as for stronger penalties for gun trafficking and for bans on gun sales to individuals convicted of domestic abuse, the Times reported. The NRA has strongly attacked the Bloomberg group for its vigorous assault on the Second Amendment. The arrangement comes during a year of heavy gun violence and mass shootings throughout the nation, including in Chicago, where 487 lives have been lost to gun violence so far this year. Was it all gang-related? Don't be surprised if the majority of that was gang-related. Lee's latest films, Sheetrock, Chirac, directly addresses gun violence and is set in the city's south side. He's a member of Everytown's creative council. Yes, he wants all you folks to be slaves to the system. Because of the NRA, politicians and gun manufacturers were dying under that tyranny. Lee told the Times, explaining why he brokered the deal between the NBA and the Bloomberg's group. He said that the time had come for common sense anti-gun laws. President Barack Obama praised the effort Wednesday on Twitter, which it says here, I'm proud of the NBA to take a stand on gun violence. Sympathy for victims isn't enough. Change requires of all of us speaking up. Well. Well, we know too. I heard like Chicago, like you can own a gun, but it's a little bit tough to get. And two, you got everything's drug related, gang related, and they're being raised with being contemptuous to one another. And it does piss me off. Don't get me wrong, it infuriates me when I see young people die and so forth. It does anger me. And you can do all these little gun laws, anti-gun laws, common sense anti-gun laws in the books. It's not effective. But learning to love one another does. And what's funny about Michael Bloomberg, if he's this man's such a hypocrite, well, he'd have his he should have his guards disarmed, his own personal guards. Make them gun free. He'll just ramble away. Well, I need them. Right, and then Spike Lee, he's got to learn this history. Okay, No Guns for Negroes is a great example. I know I posted it on here on my Spreaker page in the past. I'm gonna do it again. Yes, and it's very good because that was done by the Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership on No Guns for Negroes, because those areas drug infested, which is like a lot of it's government planet, and now their goal is to brainwash every single one of you to support this legislation, support their cause, which technically is tyrannical. It's just another form of blackmailing the minds. And I'll say this for a fact. When it comes to crimes, when people use any weapons, including a firearm, they deserve tougher, harsher sentences. No arguments on that whatsoever. And there are a lot more people responsible firearm owners than criminals. 2.5 million cases. Fact, a year. People, honorable people use it to defend themselves, families, property, etc., including bystanders, protecting innocent bystanders. And there's plenty of information on that. JPFO has a good links in there as well. But I'm definitely going to add No Guns for Negroes on this to give people a bigger picture. And that is all for now. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this episode. Plus, feel free to download and share this episode throughout your social media networks. And I'd like to wish everyone, too, a Merry Christmas and beyond. And Happy New Year for 2016, which I'm going to be doing expecting to do a couple more shows before that. And I have a few things up my sleeve as well, which I'm pending, just picking my brain, see what I'm going to do, what I'm going to put out. So if you have any information, if you want to send your comments, criticisms, compliments, love letters, hate letters, or send me something that's interesting that I haven't done yet. However, please use all your correspondences with decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, YouTube, World Truth, and Scene.com. life. Or you could email me at LokiLuck3, which is the number 3 is all together, at gmail.com. All my footnotes will be on Spreaker page as well. So just to give you guys a heads up. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.